Welcome to Bible Quiz Tube. Today's challenge takes you to the very heart of the Christian faith, the pivotal events of the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And before we begin, we celebrate a special milestone. This channel has now reached 1 million views. Thank you to all of you who have been with us since the beginning. A special shout out to Joy Lundberg, Marie Kelly, Lyatts, and Stephanie Houston. Your support inspires this community every week. You have 25 questions, 5 seconds each, 1 point per correct answer. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss our daily Bible quizzes. Share your score in the comments. Let the quiz begin. Question 1. What meal did Jesus share with his disciples right before his arrest? Give it a go. A. The Sermon on the Mount. B. The Feast of Tabernacles. C. The Last Supper. D. A wedding feast in Cana. Brilliant! Option C, the Last Supper, is spot on. The explanation. As recorded in Luke chapter 22 verses 14 to 20, on the night he was betrayed, Jesus shared a Passover meal with his 12 disciples. This event is known as the Last Supper. During this meal, he reinterpreted the ancient festival, instituting the new covenant in his blood. He gave the bread and wine as symbols of his body and blood, which would be sacrificed for the forgiveness of sins, establishing the ordinance of communion. Question 2. In the Garden of Gethsemane, what did Jesus pray for if it were possible? A. For this cup to be taken from him. B. For his enemies to be forgiven. C. For his disciples to stay awake. D. For legions of angels. Spot on. The correct option is A. For this cup to be taken from him. The explanation. In Matthew chapter 26 verse 39, Jesus, in deep anguish, prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me." The cup was a metaphor for the immense suffering and divine wrath he was about to endure on the cross. However, he immediately subordinated his human will to the Father's, concluding, "Yet not as I will, but as you will." This demonstrates his perfect obedience even in the face of unimaginable agony. Question 3. Who betrayed Jesus with a kiss? A. Thomas. B. Peter. C. John. D. Judas Iscariot. D. Judas Iscariot is the correct answer. The explanation. Luke chapter 22 verses 47 to 48 describes the tragic moment when Judas Iscariot, one of the 12 apostles, identified Jesus to the arresting mob. He used a kiss, a sign of intimate friendship, as the prearranged signal for betrayal. Jesus' response, "Judas, are you betraying the Son of Man with a kiss?" highlights the profound treachery of the act. The use of an intimate gesture for such a heinous purpose is the ultimate depiction of hypocrisy. Question 4. Which disciple denied Jesus 3 times before the rooster crowed? A. Andrew. B. Peter. C. John. D. James. You've got this. B. Peter is correct. The explanation. Just as Jesus had predicted, the Apostle Peter denied knowing him 3 separate times on the night of his arrest, as recorded in Luke chapter 22 verses 54 to 62. The crowing of the rooster brought Jesus' words to his mind. This failure of the lead apostle stands as a powerful reminder of human weakness. However, it also serves as the backdrop for Peter's beautiful restoration by the resurrected Jesus in John chapter 21, demonstrating profound grace. Question 5. What prisoner did the crowd demand be released instead of Jesus? Choose from A. Dismas, B. Barabbas, C. Justus, D. Caiaphas. The expected answer is B. Barabbas. The explanation. According to Mark chapter 15 verses 11 to 15, it was a custom for the Roman governor to release one prisoner during the Passover feast. Pontius Pilate offered the crowd a choice between Jesus and a man named Barabbas. Barabbas was a notorious prisoner, guilty of insurrection and murder. The crowd, incited by the chief priests, chose to release the guilty man and crucify the innocent one, a profound and tragic irony of the gospel. Question 6. What did the Roman soldiers place on Jesus' head? A. A crown of thorns, B. A purple veil, C. A royal diadem, D. A soldier's helmet. You got it correct. A. A crown of thorns. The explanation. In John chapter 19 verse 2, the Roman soldiers, mocking Jesus' title as King of the Jews, twisted together a crown made of thorny branches and forced it onto his head. This act was a form of excruciating torture and public humiliation intended to ridicule his claim to kingship. Theologically, it is seen as Jesus bearing the curse of sin, which was symbolized by thorns and thistles in Genesis chapter 3. Question 7. Who was forced to help Jesus carry his cross? Decide between A. John the Apostle, B. Nicodemus, C. Joseph of Arimathea, D. Simon of Cyrene. The valid answer is D. Simon of Cyrene. The explanation. Luke chapter 23 verse 26 records that as Jesus was being led away, weakened by the scourgings, the Roman soldiers seized a man from the crowd named Simon, who was from Cyrene in North Africa. They compelled him to carry the cross behind Jesus. While it was an act of Roman coercion, Simon's unexpected role has become a powerful symbol for believers of what it means to take up your cross and follow Jesus. Question 8. What does Golgotha, the place of the crucifixion, mean? A. The potter's field, B. The hill of sorrows, C. The place of the skull, D. The king's hill. C. The place of the skull is the accurate choice. The explanation. John chapter 19 verse 17 states that Jesus was led to the place called Golgotha, which is an Aramaic word. The gospel writer helpfully provides the translation, which means the place of the skull. The Latin word for skull is Calvaria, from which we get the name Calvary. The location was likely named this because of its shape, or because it was a site of public executions, grimly symbolizing death itself. Question 9. What did the inscription that Pilate placed above Jesus on the cross say? Take a moment to think. A. The blasphemer, B. The King of the Jews, C. Here is your king, D. King of Israel. Right on target. The answer is B. The King of the Jews. The explanation. The inscription, called a titulus, was a formal charge posted on a cross. While the wording varies slightly in each gospel, Matthew chapter 27 verse 37 gives the full version. This is Jesus, the King of the Jews. Though Pilate intended it as mockery, he unwittingly proclaimed the profound truth of Jesus' identity. When the Jewish leaders protested, Pilate famously retorted, "What I have written, John chapter 19 verse 22. You're doing great so far. If you're enjoying the quiz, hit the like button and subscribe for more Bible quiz content. Share your score in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Let's dive back in. Question 10. How many other men were crucified with Jesus? A4, B1, C2, D3. Nice work, C2 is the right choice. The explanation. Luke chapter 23 verses 32 to 33 clearly states that 2 other men, both criminals, were also led out with him to be executed, and they were crucified on his right and on his left. This fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah chapter 53 verse 12, and he was numbered with the transgressors. Jesus, the sinless one, was publicly executed alongside the guilty, representing his role as the substitute who bore the sins of humanity. Question 11. What supernatural event happened from the 6th to the 9th hour while Jesus was on the cross? A. Darkness covered the land. B. A great flood. C. Angels appeared in the sky. D. An earthquake. You're on track. A. Darkness covered the land is correct. The explanation. Matthew chapter 27 verse 45 records that from noon, the 6th hour, until 3 in the afternoon, the 9th hour, a supernatural darkness fell over the entire land. This was not a normal solar eclipse. This profound darkness symbolized the moment that the Father poured out the full judgment for the sins of the world upon his Son. It was a visible sign of the spiritual agony Jesus endured on our behalf. Question 12. Which disciple did Jesus entrust his mother, Mary, to? Only true Bible fans will get this. A. James. B. Peter. C. Andrew. D. John. Keep it up. The right answer is D. John. The explanation. From the cross, Jesus saw his mother Mary, standing with the disciple whom he loved, traditionally identified as John. John chapter 19 verses 26 to 27 records this tender moment. Jesus said to Mary, "Woman, here is your son," and to John, "Here is your mother." In this act of profound filial love, even in his agony, Jesus made sure his mother would be cared for after his death, and John took her into his home from that time on. Question 13. What happened to the veil in the temple at the moment Jesus died? A. It caught on fire. B. It was torn in two. C. It vanished. D. It turned blood red. The correct answer is B. It was torn in two. The explanation. Matthew chapter 27 verse 51 states that at the moment of Jesus' death, the massive thick curtain of the temple that separated the holy place from the most holy place was torn in two from top to bottom. The tearing from top to bottom signified that this was an act of God, not man. The veil was massive, estimated 60 feet high and 4 inches thick, making its tearing from top to bottom a clearly supernatural event. It powerfully symbolized that through Christ's sacrificial death, the barrier between a holy God and sinful humanity has been removed, granting all believers direct access. Question 14. After Jesus' death, which Roman soldier declared, "Surely this man was the Son of God"? A. A centurion. B. A Praetorian guard. C. Pontius Pilate himself. D. A legionary. You're doing great. A centurion is correct. The explanation. Mark chapter 15 verse 39 records the reaction of the Roman centurion who was in charge of the crucifixion detail. Having witnessed how Jesus died, he was moved to make a profound confession. Seeing Jesus' composure, his words, and the accompanying supernatural events like the earthquake, this hardened pagan soldier declared, "Surely this man was the Son of God." He was the first person to make this confession after the cross. Question 15. Who asked for Jesus' body and buried it in his own new tomb? Test your knowledge. A. Lazarus. B. Simon the Zealot. C. Joseph of Arimathea. D. Nicodemus. Outstanding. C. Joseph of Arimathea is right. The explanation. Matthew chapter 27, verses 57 to 60, identifies Joseph of Arimathea as a rich man and a secret disciple of Jesus. He was also a prominent member of the Sanhedrin Council. He courageously went to Pilate and asked for Jesus' body for burial. He then wrapped the body in clean linen and placed it in his own unused tomb, fulfilling the prophecy of Isaiah chapter 53 verse 9 that the Messiah would be with the rich in his death. You're doing great so far. If you're enjoying the quiz, hit the like button and subscribe for more Bible quiz content. Share your score in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Let's dive back in. Question 16. Who was the first person to see the resurrected Jesus? A. Peter. B. John. C. Mary, the mother of Jesus. D. Mary Magdalene. You're crushing it. D. Mary Magdalene is right. The explanation. John chapter 20 verses 14 to 18 gives the moving account of the first resurrection appearance. Mary Magdalene, weeping outside the empty tomb, was the first person to whom the risen Jesus revealed himself. Jesus gently called her by name, turning her sorrow into overwhelming joy. This honor given to a devoted female follower, who then became the apostle to the apostles by announcing the news, is a beautiful testament to God's grace. Question 17. What did the angels tell the women who came to the empty tomb? This is a tough one. A. Why do you look for the living among the dead? B. He will return soon. C. You must wait here. D. Go and build a church. Superb. The answer is A. Why do you look for the living among the dead? The explanation. When the women arrived at the tomb on Sunday morning to anoint Jesus' body, they were met by two angels in dazzling apparel. Their question, recorded in Luke chapter 24 verse 5, is a gentle but profound rebuke. Why do you look for the living among the dead? This question announced the core truth of the gospel. Jesus was no longer in the realm of the dead. He had risen, just as he had told them he would, conquering death itself. Question 18. Which apostle doubted the resurrection until he could touch Jesus' wounds? A. Bartholomew. B. Philip. C. Thomas. D. Matthew. Excellent. The answer is C. Thomas. The explanation. John chapter 20 verses 24 to 28 tells the story of Thomas, who was absent when the resurrected Jesus first appeared to the disciples. He famously declared that he would not believe unless he could physically touch Jesus' wounds. A week later, Jesus appeared again and offered Thomas the very proof he demanded. This led Thomas to make one of the greatest confessions of faith in all of Scripture, "My Lord and my God." Question 19. On the road to what town did Jesus appear to two disciples after his resurrection? Prove your knowledge. A. Jericho. B. Bethlehem. C. Bethany. D. Emmaus. Well done. The answer is D. Emmaus. The explanation. Luke chapter 24 verses 13 to 15 describes two disciples walking to a village called Emmaus on the day of the resurrection, downcast and confused by the recent events. The resurrected Jesus himself joined them on their journey, though they were kept from recognizing him. He then gave them the greatest Bible study ever, explaining from all the scriptures how the Messiah had to suffer and die before entering his glory. Question 20. What did the resurrected Jesus cook for his disciples on the shore of the Sea of Galilee? A. Bread and wine. B. Fish and bread. C. Lamb and herbs. D. Manna and quail. The correct choice is B. Fish and bread. The explanation. John chapter 21 verse 9 records a beautiful post-resurrection appearance. After a miraculous catch of fish, the disciples came ashore and found that Jesus already had a charcoal fire going with fish and bread cooking on it. He then invited them, "Come and have breakfast." This simple, intimate act of service demonstrated the reality of his physical resurrection and served to lovingly restore his relationship with the disciples, especially Peter. Question 21. How many days passed between Jesus' resurrection and his ascension? A. 3. B. 7. Circa 40. D. 50. Brilliant. Option C, 40, is spot on. The explanation. Acts chapter 1 verse 3 states that after his suffering and resurrection, Jesus presented himself alive to the apostles over a period of 40 days, giving them many convincing proofs. This crucial period was spent teaching them about the kingdom of God and giving them their final commission to be his witnesses. This time of instruction and fellowship concluded with his glorious ascension into heaven from the Mount of Olives. Question 22. What was Jesus' final command to his disciples before his ascension? A. To go and make disciples of all nations. B. To appoint a new leader. C. To build a temple in Jerusalem. D. To write the Gospels. Spot on. The correct option is A. To go and make disciples of all nations. The explanation. Before ascending into heaven, Jesus gave his disciples what is known as the Great Commission, as recorded in Matthew chapter 28 verses 19 to 20. This was his final marching orders for the church. He commanded them to go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them and teaching them to obey everything he had commanded. This mission statement has driven the expansion of the Christian faith for 2 millennia. Question 23. What did the soldiers do with Jesus' robe? Possible answers. A. They gave it to Pilate. B. They left it in the tomb. C. They tore it into 4 pieces. D. They cast lots for it. D. They cast lots for it is the correct answer. The explanation. John chapter 19 verses 23 to 24 provides a specific detail about Jesus' tunic, noting that it was seamless, woven in one piece from top to bottom. The soldiers decided not to tear it. Instead, they said, "Let's not tear it. Let's decide by lot who will get it." This seemingly minor act was a direct and precise fulfillment of the prophecy in Psalms chapter 22 verse 18. They divide my clothes among them and cast lots for my garment. You're doing great so far. If you're enjoying the quiz, hit the like button and subscribe for more Bible quiz content. Share your score in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Let's dive back in. Question 24. Jesus' final words, "It is finished," signified the completion of what? A. His ministry to the disciples. B. His work of redemption. C. His earthly life. D. His suffering. You've got this. B. His work of redemption is correct. The explanation. John chapter 19 verse 30 records Jesus' triumphant final cry from the cross, "It is finished." The single Greek word, tetelestai, was a common term used to signify that a debt had been paid in full. This was not a cry of defeat, but of ultimate victory. It declared that his mission of redemption was complete. The full price for sin had been paid, and the work his Father had given him to do was perfectly accomplished for all time. Question 25. How did the chief priests explain the empty tomb? Think carefully now. A. They admitted he was resurrected. B. They said the Romans took the body. C. They claimed it was the wrong tomb. D. They said the disciples stole the body. The expected answer is D. They said the disciples stole the body. The explanation. Matthew chapter 28 verses 11 to 15 records the response of the religious leaders after the guards reported the resurrection. Instead of investigating the truth, they devised a cover-up. They gave the soldiers a large sum of money and instructed them to lie, saying, "His disciples came during the night and stole him away while we were asleep." This false story was then widely circulated to suppress the truth of the resurrection. What an amazing journey! How did you score on all 25 questions? Drop your score in the comments below. Thanks for joining us today on Bible Quiz Tube. Subscribe for new Bible quizzes. Stay blessed.